our supermarket tour, we chose to go to Pizzateria's underneath Saks on Queen Street. For this video, we decided to focus on the dairy section. So first, looking at the yogurt section, we noticed that there were a lot more bigger tubs of yogurt than there was small individually packed yogurts. The yogurts seemed to advertise things such as organic, probiotics, and grass-fed, although there weren't very many obviously local signs saying they were from Ontario. You'd have to actually take a closer look and read the packaging on a product to figure out if it was from Ontario or not. There were a lot more dairy yogurt options than non-dairy options for yogurt, and the dairy was sort of concentrated in the middle, and the vegan was kind of just displaced throughout. It wasn't like two separate sections of vegan or non-dairy and then dairy. The kids' yogurt was placed at the top, not at eye level or kid level, which we found interesting because in other supermarkets that we've seen and in the readings, the kids' yogurt is usually placed at kid eye level for them to buy, but at this store it was up high. Beside the yogurt section was cereal and granola to sell, I guess, as an accompaniment to the yogurt. So next to the yogurt section was the milk, and there was a few single-serve packaging milk closer to the cash register, as the yogurt section was closer to the cash. Next we go into the milk section, and in this section there was milk, butter, and cheese, and eggs. So looking at the butter section first, there were a lot more vegan options for butter than there were dairy options. That goes for the cream cheese and the packaged cheese as well. There was a lot more vegan options than dairy options, which we found interesting. There was a lot of signage around this area that listed certain types of fad-type diets, including keto, vegan, non-GMO, or other diets like that. And we were talking to an employee, and they said that as long as there is a sign in front of products that list these types of diets, people will still buy them. No matter if they know what it is or what it's good for, they will still buy these products because it's marketed that way. There were a few types of dairy processed type cheese with the cheese strings, but there was no Kraft singles or anything like that processed for dairy cheeses. There was also a section that had sardines and anchovies, which we thought was kind of random in the dairy section because we've never seen anything like that in other dairy sections that we've gone to. For milk, they only really had a couple different options for dairy. There was 2 or 3 options, and then there was a lot more non-dairy options. They had quail eggs and regular eggs and organic eggs and prepackaged eggs in the dairy section, as well as they had bacon. It's interesting to note that the dairy products were concentrated towards the bottom of the shelves, and dairy obviously has a shorter shelf life than non-dairy products, and the non-dairy products were more focused at eye level and above. Like the yogurt section, the dairy section did not have any signage or advertise any local products, Canadian products, or Ontario products. You'd actually have to read the packaging on most products to know where they came from. Beside the milk dairy section was the cereal section and the bread section, which you could group together as common breakfast foods. We chose to do this supermarket for our video because it is situated underneath 2 department stores and attached to the Eaton Center Mall. This grocery store is more so geared towards people who have to pick up something quick for dinner or for lunch or something. So they do have a lot of prepared foods, but then they also have like produce section and like the dairy section and meats. So they have both. So we thought it'd be interesting to look at what they thought people would gravitate towards if they wanted to buy something quick they forgot to pick up, or something they needed for dinner, or other stuff like that. But this dairy section was actually pretty big, and they had a lot of products that most grocery stores would have. Um, we were surprised at the fact that there were a lot more vegan options than non-vegan options in this grocery store. Compared to at least other grocery stores that we visit frequently, they usually have a larger dairy section than non-dairy section. What we took from this is that veganism is clearly more popular in cities than in surrounding areas or suburbs where we tend to shop in our local supermarkets. We didn't really know what to expect going into the supermarket, knowing that it is catered for quick grab and go type products. And we were surprised at how big the dairy section was, especially in comparison to other sections in the store. The produce section was very small and had limited quantities of the produce, and as were the meat section, and they did not have very many dry aisles. They mainly focused more on prepared food and their restaurants in the supermarket, but the dairy section by far was the largest and had the most variety of options in the store. We found this project very interesting and eye-opening to look at how this supermarket caters to their demographic.